Hello, 7As, receiving students and teachers.
Hello, Mr. Dumbo.
Thank you. Take your seat. 7As and receiving students, we are going to start our lesson by looking at some of the exercises that we did in our previous lesson. We're only going to correct one exercise, which is exercise number 1. Open your students' workbook to lesson number 7 and look at exercise number 1, where it says, find the following, write your answer as a mixed number. Exercise A. Seven is and receiving students, we have our exercise there. Exercise A, it says 5.5 divided by 5 and 3 over 8. Now, this is how we are going to correct our work. Receiving teacher, you can also check your students' work by asking each student to give his or her working out. 7 is, I'm going to write the exercise on the board, and I will ask a student to give me the steps that are involved in dividing mixed numbers. So sit up straight. Let's look at the board. 5.5 divided by 5 and 3/8. 7 is and receiving students, what is the first step that we have to do in order to divide a mixed number? First step, number 1 step. What is the first step? Ruben.
Write mixed numbers as improper fraction.
Very good. Write mixed numbers as improper fraction. So, these two mixed numbers here, 5.5 and 5 and 3/8. We are going to change these two mixed numbers to improper fractions. Firstly, let's change the first mixed number, which is 5 and 1 over 2, or 5.5. When we change these to an improper fraction, what will be the improper fraction? 2 times 5? 10 plus? Okay. 2 times 5 plus 1 will give us 11 over 2. Divide by 8 times 5? 40 plus 3 equals 43 over 8. Very good. What is the next step? 7 is receiving students. What is the next step? What is the next step? Tara.
Turn the fraction of divisor upside down and change the divide sign to times sign.
Very good. 7 is and receiving students. She's saying turn the divisor, which is 43 over 8, upside down, and reducing sign changes to multiplication sign. What is the method that we said we can apply here? What is that method? What is that method? Hands up. What is that method? Malvin.
Reciprocal.
Okay, reciprocal method. Very good. Now, when we apply the reciprocal method, the dividend, which is the 11 over 2, stays the same, while the sign, division, changes to multiplication, and the divisor, 43 over 8, changes to 8 over 43. Okay, what is the next step? Daisy.
Simplify.
We simplify. Which two numbers that we are going to simplify now?
8.
2 and 8. With what number?
2 into 8.
2 into 2 goes?
1.
Once. 2 into 8 goes?
4.
4 times. Very good. So we have our new fraction, which is 11 over 1 times 4 over 43. Now, can we further simplify more? Can we simplify these fractions here? 7 is receiving students? Yes or no? No, because there's no number that we can use to either simplify any of these numbers. So, our fraction, the last step, what are we going to do? Sconti.
Write your answer as mixed number.
Write your answer as mixed number. So, are we going to write our answer as mixed number now? What is the last step? 7 is. Scotty, good try. Agnes?
Multiply the numerator and the denominator.
Very good. We multiply the numerators and also multiply the denominators. So, 11 times 4 is equals to 44 over 1 times 43 is equals to 43. Now, 44 over 43. Is that our answer? 7 is? Receiving students? No. So what should be our answer? What is the last step? What is the last step? Colin.
We divide
We divide what?
43 by 44.
Very good. When we are dividing 43 into 44, we are trying to change this fraction. What is the name of this fraction? Improper fraction. So we are trying to change this improper fraction to a what? Mixed number. So in order to do that, we are going to divide. So 43 into 44. So 43 into 44, how many times? Once. 43 times 1 equals 43. Subtract. 4 minus 3 equals 1. 4 minus 4 equals nothing. So the remainder will be written up there as a fraction. So we have our answer 1 whole and 1 over 43. Raise your hand if you have got your answer like that. Very good. 7 is and receiving students, give yourselves 5 big claps. Thank you. Sit up straight. To the receiving teacher, before we go on to the next topic, as I've said in our previous lesson, I hope you have prepared a place value chart for today's lesson. Class, our today's lesson topic is place value and ordering. Place value and ordering, we are going to look at the table. Place value chart. We are going to look at a table which is known as a place value chart. 70s and receiving students, on the screen you have a place value chart, and also on the whiteboard I've got a place value chart ready on a paper for you. 70s and receiving students, have you seen a place value chart like this in your previous grades? Yes, some say no. Okay, now this is how a place value chart looks like. You might be wondering, what is a place value chart? A place value chart is a chart that shows you how you can find values of numbers. I've got 2 very important notes for you. On the screen, the 2 important notes are as follows. It says, each digit in a number has a value that depends on its place in the number, or its place value. Second, a 0 holds place value in a number. A 0 holds a place value in a number. Now, to explain further on, we are going to find a place value for each digit. 70s and receiving students, on the screen, who would like to tell me that number? What is that number? Raise your hand. How can you say that number on the screen? How can you say that number on the screen? 70s, receiving students, tell your teacher. How can you say that number on the screen? Nola?
20.143.
20.143. 70s and receiving student, is our friend correct? Yes or no? No? She says 20.143. Is she correct? Kalen?
20,143.
20,143. Is he correct? Okay, let's see. That's the reason why we will use the place value chart to find the values of each of those numbers or digits. The example is that number 20.143. Okay, our number we are trying to find is 20.143. We'll try to identify what is the value of each of those digits. We're going to place this number under each of the columns there, the place value chart. Now, when we look at the place value chart, the place values start from where it says units. When you go to your left, units, tens, and it goes up, hundreds, thousands. Now, starting from units, the units and this word tens, it is separated by a decimal point. Okay? Decimal point. Meaning that from tens going to your right, it's after the decimal point. So any number which is after the decimal point, which is written across like this, towards your right. So we are going to place this number, 20.143, under each of the columns there. So 20.143. Now, one of our friends said that number is 20,143. Let's check if our friend was correct. And the other one said 20.143. This is how we can find the values of each number. Now, after the decimal place, the numbers go in there. They are known as they are. Like, for example, this 1 and this 4 and this 3 will not be mentioned like 143. No. They will be mentioned as they are, like 1, 4, 3. That's after the decimal point. But before the decimal point, the numbers like 0 and 2, they can be mentioned differently. So, this is how we're going to go about it. This 2 is under the term called tens. Tens simply means that any number which is under tens will be multiplied by 10. Like, for example, 2 here, 2 is going to be multiplied 2 times 10, which is equals to 20. So the value of these 2 here is equals to 20. Or we can say 2 tenths. Is that clear? We cannot say this is 2. No. Because it's under the tens column, it is known as 2 tenths or it is 20. The value of it is 20. Now, the 0. 0 is under units column. Units is ones. So to find the value of this 0, again we'll multiply it with 1. 0 times 1 equals what? 0. So 0 is 0. The value of 0 is 0. 0 is also a number. Is that clear? Now, the numbers after the decimal point. The numbers after the decimal point, the first column says tenths, 1 over tenth. So this number here, 1, is known as 1/10, meaning that it is after the decimal point. So in order to find the value of 1, we multiply 1 times 1 over 10, which is equals to what? 1/10. Can you see that? Same goes to 4. We're going to multiply 4 times what? 1 over 100, which is equals to 4 over 100. Okay? Thousands. 3 multiplied by 1 over 1000. So which is equals to 3 over 1000. Can you see that? These are written in a expanded fractional form. They are in fraction form, these numbers here. 70s and receiving students, to help us learn more on how we can find the place value of each of the numbers, we are going to do some exercises. On the screen, I have the first example, example 1. It says, write this fraction as a decimal. Receiving students and 70s, your exercise, this lesson is on page 19 of your student workbook and 20. Example 1, let us do this together. It says, write this fraction as a decimal. How can you write this fraction as a decimal? 7 ratio n. What is the decimal? Daisy?
0.7.
0.7. Very good. The decimal for 7 over 10 is 0.7. Okay? Example 2, write this decimal as a fraction. What is the fraction for 0.1? Alan?
1 over 10.
Very good. 1 over 10. 70s and receiving students, to help you find those fractions or decimals, you can also use the place value chart in your student workbook. Now, let's look at some exercises. Let us work in pairs to do these exercises. We are going to do only 2 exercises. Exercise 1, it says, write this as decimals. B, 3 over 100, C, 9 over 1000. Let us write those as decimals. I'll give you 2 minutes. 1. B. Write this as decimals. 3 over 100. How can we write that as a decimal? How can we write that as a decimal? Yes, Tara? What is your answer?
0.03.
0.03. Very good. C. Isaac.
$0.009.
Okay. 0.009. Very good. 7 years and students, the first exercise, you should have 0.03 and 0.009. Exercise 2, B. We are going to change the decimal 0.09 to a fraction. 0.09 to a fraction. JJ.
9 over 100.
9 over 100. 9 over 100. Okay. C, 0.003. 0.003. Glenda,
3 over 1,000.
very good. 3 over 1,000. 77 students, are you clear on how you can find a decimal and a fraction of those numbers using the place value chart? Okay, now, 77 students, let's look at what I explained earlier on using the place value chart. When we looked at a number on this whiteboard here, we found out the values of each of the digits on the place value chart. Now, there are so many ways you can express this decimal number. The other way is expression or expanded fractional form. You are going to express it in expanded fractional form, meaning that you are going to expand the number 20.143. 20.143. So, this is how we are going to do it. We have found out the value of all these digits. So, 2 times 10, we said 20, 0 times 1, 0, 1 over 10, 4 over 100, and 3 over 1,000. To write it as a fractional form, this is how we're going to do it. 20 plus 0 plus 1 over 10 plus 4 over 100 plus 3 over 1,000. Okay. Now, when you add this 20 plus 0 plus 1 over 10 plus 4 over 100 plus 3 over 1,000, you will come up with such number as 20.143. Can you see that? This is written in expanded form. With that, 77 students, let's look at our summary notes again. It says, each digit in a number has a value that depends on its place in the number or its place value. So any number with as a decimal number on it, like the one we just had it there, when it is placed under the place value table, each of those digits have their values, like we said earlier on. The second important note is a 0 holds place value in a number. Is that clear? Now, 77 students, we have come to the end of the lesson. Our key phrase for today's lesson is place value chart. Our next lesson will be rounding off decimals. With that, 70s and receiving students, receiving teachers, thank you for your participation in today's lesson.